Now it's time for our next game. This is a fun one. This is a little ACC versus SEC early season rivalry game. This is number 19 Miami at Florida in the battle for the Florida Cup at 3:30 p.m. Like I said, way early season rivalry game. Normally this game isn't played until later in the year, but with conference expansion, we're going to see more games like this earlier in the year. But I mean, honestly, I'm here for it. I think it makes it more fun that way. So these are two coaches who are definitely on the hot seat already. They got Billy Napier at Florida, Mario Cristobal at Miami. These coaches are actually kind of similar, as they were really, really hyped up at the time of their hire, as we had Sunbelt Billy coming from Louisiana, who was growing that program extremely fast. And then we had Mario Cristobal at Oregon, who in 2021 beat Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes at home. Now he's losing to Georgia Tech at home, when all you had to do was take a knee. I know we all remember how that went. The ESPN FPI has University of Florida 58%. The TBD model has UF by 5, which is a kind of weird number, but it is 5 nonetheless. And the spread is Miami by 2.5. So a little bit of differential there. This is two talented rosters with two coaches with something to prove. This is a great recipe for an amazing game. Isaac, who's going to win?
I'm going to start with two things. Number one, I am glad, in hindsight, and as of right now, that LSU did not hire Billy Napier. Second, I'm going to say, as I always do, it sucks to be a Florida Gator. With that in mind, this is going to be a really good game. Miami is top 20. Billy Napier needs this win for his job. The Gators need it for their egos in Gainesville because they don't have anything else to hang their hats on besides the coattails of Tim Tebow. Man, this is tough. I'm gonna have to go with the Gators. I think Florida gets this win. I think the fact that it's in Gainesville, it's a 3:30 kickoff. It's a day game, so the Swamp, it's not going to be as bumping as it would be at night. But I think still, a Saturday in Gainesville, it's going to be a good game. And listen, maybe the Gators won't back down. Maybe it turns out to be a good win for them. I like them. I think they get the Florida Cup this year, start out 1-0, and pull Miami out of the top 20.
Guys, this might be one of the hardest games I've ever had to pick in my entire life. This one's tough. Because you think on one hand, it's like, well, it's Miami. Miami's reloaded their roster. Mario Cristobal's a really good coach. I mean, I think last year that was a little bit of, I guess, Georgia Tech. I know I mentioned it was maybe not exactly his fault. But either way, he's still a good coach. He schemes well. Billy Napier, on the other hand, he's won a couple of the big games on his schedules the last couple of years, but Florida State's just kind of stayed level. They haven't really gotten any worse, but they haven't really gotten any better. But they're still a tough team to play at home. And Miami's got to play this gritty Florida team at home in the Swamp, first game of the season. And with that being said, I am going to pick Miami to win this game. I know I sounded like I was going to pick Florida, but no, I'm not going to do that. Just because Miami, I feel like it's just too talented. Florida, they just don't play these great teams well, even at home. So in last year, I think back to their opener against Utah, they went on the road, and they got absolutely destroyed by Utah last year around this time. So I'm going to give it to Miami. I think they have more talent, and they have Cam Ward, the transfer from Washington State. I think he's going to do amazing things in this game against this Florida defense, so that's why I've got Miami.
And I'm really glad you actually brought up Cam Ward, because that was one of my main points when deciding for my prediction here. You have Graham Mertz, who honestly, when you look at his throwing stats, they weren't bad. I mean, 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions is phenomenal if you really look at it. The only issue is he was sacked 31 times. 31 sacks last season. That is atrocious. And that's with Trevor Etienne in your backfield, in which you don't have anymore.
I just wanted to point out, literally the one reason that Florida was able to beat Tennessee last year was because of Trevor Etienne.
Exactly. And now you look at Miami, who has a head coach who, has proven he can stick in the big leagues. He can build good rosters. He can develop talent. And he can develop O-line and D-line. Then you put in Cam Ward to handle the ball behind center. And you still have wide receivers coming back. I mean, Restrepo is how old now? He's elderly now, right? He gets his senior citizens 401k now. I don't know, but I have to pick Miami because, like Mason said, the amount of talent that they're not only bringing back, but they just have, period, is 10 times better than what Florida has. I genuinely think that Billy Napier is coming to his end as a head coach in Power 4 football.